Photographer Bert Stern was best known for taking over 2,500 photographs of blonde bombshell Marilyn Monroe over a 3-day span just 6 weeks before her untimely death. Since these candid and playful shots were the last posed pictures of Monroe, Stern's historic portfolio has come to be known as The Last Sitting. The shoot was commissioned by Vogue, and several photos were featured in a special commemorative issue of the magazine. While Stern was best known for his work with Monroe, in the decades before his death in 2013, he was lucky enough to have worked with numerous high-profile stars like Brigitte Bardot, Marlon Brando, Audrey Hepburn, and more. He experienced a meteoric rise to fame in the early 60s due to his distinct minimal approach to capturing images. Some of his earliest clients were corporations like IBM, Vogue, Revlon, and Smirnoff, but it was his portraits of celebrities that transformed him into one of the most celebrated photographers of all time. Join FactsVerse as we take a look at some of Bert Stern's finest works. The Last Sitting. In the summer of 1962, Bert Stern snapped more than 2,500 shots of Marilyn Monroe at an LA hotel over 3 sessions. These famed images captured Marilyn at times in a somewhat broody mood, but overall she seemed playful and carefree, as she posed nude, covered just barely by things like bedsheets, a fur coat, a Vera Neumann scarf, and roses. Throughout the shoot, Stern said he felt like some kind of supernatural force was guiding everything. He described this force as some kind of magical element that exists within all of us, since, as he put it, we are all pictures, a visual experience. Stern later gave various accounts of what happened during the shoots. In one, Bert claimed Monroe arrived several hours late. While she was supposed to show up in the early afternoon, she apparently came around 7 p.m., but stayed with him until 7 a.m. After she realized Stern wanted to shoot her in the nude, she was initially apprehensive because of a scar on her abdomen from a recent gallbladder surgery. The mark can be seen clearly in several of the pictures. After Stern showed Vogue his first round of nude photos, he was asked to take another set of black and white pictures of the star clothed. It was these shots the magazine ultimately printed in September of 1962. After the shoots were over, Bert sent Marilyn the photos he had taken of her printed on contact sheets under the stipulation she'd return them. When they were returned, Marilyn had used magic marker, lipstick, and a hairpin to X out images she didn't feel reflected the picture she had of herself. Before we tell you more about Bert Stern's high-profile celebrity shots, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to FactsVerse if you haven't already. Bert's other celebrity subjects. In 1960, Bert sat down with actor Marlon Brando, one of the first stars to sign his celebrity guest book. Before that, he had worked primarily in advertising. One of his first contracts was for a photo shoot with Smirnoff Vodka, a company that had previously solely relied on illustrations. Stern's conceptual photographs were warmly received and helped launch his lifelong photography career. Here's a photo Stern took for Smirnoff of Harpo Marx in 1959 and another of Buster Keaton in a cowboy outfit from 1958. Also in '58, Stern shot and directed the documentary film Jazz on a Summer's Day on location at the Newport Jazz Festival in Rhode Island. The documentary's cinematography, simplistic lighting, and overall style was a big hit with audiences and critics alike. Filmmakers like Spike Lee and Martin Scorsese would later cite the film as inspiration for their own works. During the production, Stern took a number of photos of jazz legend Louis Armstrong. 1958 was also the year this Polaroid of Salvador Dali was taken. The famed artist wrote on the book pictured with a grease pencil while instructing Stern to hold it tight. In the late 50s, Stern also got the chance to work with Burl Ives and Mort Saul, as seen in these 2 pictures for Polaroid. In 1960, Stern had the honor of photographing the lovely Brigitte Bardot. That same year, Bardot appeared in the Henri-Georges Clouzot-directed French film The Truth, which went on to be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film in 1961. In 1960, Shirley MacLaine was photographed by Stern and signed his guest book with a note saying, "While she saw everything as an illusion, somehow Stern made it all seem real." These images of MacLaine, taken by Stern, were published in an Esquire magazine calendar published in 1961 called Ye Olde Esquire Almanac. Here's a picture of Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton in 1962. Stern was at the time hired as a photographer by 20th Century Fox to document the filming of their unprecedentedly expensive feature film, Cleopatra. The movie's production was characterized by exorbitantly expensive sets and costumes, numerous delays, and the scandal caused by Taylor's extramarital affair with her co-star. Although many anticipated Taylor and Burton's scandalous love affair would be short-lived, Stern claimed he had foreseen just how deep the two stars' romance would ultimately run. Burton married Taylor on March 15, 1964. A decade later, they divorced but remarried in 1975. Unfortunately, their second marriage lasted only a little under a year. Bert Stern and the legendary filmmaker Stanley Kubrick were close friends dating back to their early days working for Look magazine. Stern held his first job as a mailboy for the magazine, while Kubrick worked as a staff photographer. In 1961, while Kubrick was filming Lolita, he asked Stern to take a series of publicity photos of actress Sue Lyon. This picture of Lyon suggestively enjoying a lollipop proved to be one of Stern's most iconic. Stern put women on a pedestal. Here we have a photo of Madonna published in Vanity Fair in 1987. Around this time, Stern was quoted as saying that women are everything while man is, quote, just a muscle. This sentiment was reminiscent of a previous quote from Stern in which he referred to women as goddesses and men as their slaves. Stern was also quoted as saying that being a woman must be very difficult as they end up experiencing the world on the inside. Men, on the other hand, look at the outside. He described this illusion as being delicious, while adding that when you break that mask, you open up another world. It's clear Bert held a strong appreciation and reverence for the opposite sex. Throughout his career, the women he worked with had nothing but positive things to say about their experiences working with him. It was this intense respect that Stern had for his subjects that allowed him to capture their intrinsic beauty. Take this 1962 shot of Sophia Loren, for example, or this one of Liz Taylor captured that same year. Stern would later say working with Taylor was always a bit difficult. As such, his approach to shooting her was very simple. Quote, "I don't fool around with Liz Taylor, I take my picture and I leave." This photo of Barbra Streisand was taken in 1966. That year, the singer released her 7th album, Color Me Barbara, on Columbia Records. The record peaked at number 3 and was certified gold. It was accompanied by a CBS TV special which aired in color on March 30th, 1966. This was right around the time Streisand was venturing into film. In 1968, she appeared in the critically acclaimed film Funny Girl, which won her an Academy Award for Best Actress. If you take a look at a list of all Bert Stern's subjects, it reads like a who's who of stars who were on the top of the world at the time. Here's a beautiful snapshot he took of Goldie Hawn in 1965. Not long after her session with Stern, Hawn rose to fame appearing in the NBC sketch comedy show Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, before giving an Academy Award-winning performance in the 1969 film Cactus Flower. Bert Stern remained active until his death in 2013. His photography was more than his passion, it was his life. Part of what made him so wonderful at what he did was his obsession about things. Right around the point in his career that he took this photo of Drew Barrymore, 1994, he explained he often got obsessed by the things he looked at. After seeing them, he wanted them, and when he put them in his camera, they became all his. Now it's time to hear from you. Which one of these photographs was your favorite? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.